Hello everybody, welcome back to the Strategic Feminine here on YouTube. And of course, we like to focus on all things feminine, all things girly, all things womanly in essence. So, of course, we have to focus on natural hair envy for the video. I noticed that this is something that within the community, right, we had our natural hair movement. Within that, they never really talked about natural hair envy, at all. They talked about everything but the complete hate and not so much backlash, but the little envious attacks that you're going to receive when you have long, pretty natural hair or when you commit to gaining and growing long, natural, pretty hair. This is going to be something that you're going to need to navigate, like especially when you're styling networks. I talk about having a good styling network. What does that mean? That means that you have like either it's an MUA, a stylist, whether a braid girl that can eat down, especially in times of great crises, emergency. Let's say you had to be somewhere tomorrow that was of utmost importance. Who do you know that's going to be able to get you to that? And you can't have no stragglers. No, she kind of did good last time. No, she'll do. I mean, you need the baddest heifers on the floor. You need a good styling crew. And what I always tell y'all is that everybody can't do everything. So like I said, there's some girls that really know how to braid, but they not that good at sew-ins. There's girls that really know how to wash your hair, style it, get it long down your back, but they not going to be the same people that's going to slap a lace on your head. So understanding that, you have to know how to gauge certain people's talents and weaknesses, especially when you are looking for a styling network and when you're committing to one. So natural hair envy. This shows up all throughout the board, and that's why a lot of women have a hard time navigating their hair, is because they're navigating a lot of envious attacks because their hair is long, tight for, and beautiful. The thing about it is you can't replicate that. Every Burmese curly in the world, every bust down baddie, every, jet black, Peruvian straight, right? That's very, very accessible and very obtainable in this market. And it's something that everyone is used to being able to mimic, even if they don't have that phenotype. So with the type 4, nobody can mimic that beautifulness, especially when it's healthy, it's at its utmost state. It's cute girl, like not just kind of halfway style, but like you really like detailed in there. You understand that once you get your hair in these states and wear it like this majority of the time, and I'm talking about curly, like we're not even getting to the silk presses and none of that. I get this envy with my hair just being curly because they know it's long, they know it's beautiful. So it's something that is noted, and how to improve that and how to navigate that, and how to know why you're not experiencing it too, because that's also another part of this. So when you're getting to a salon, I already mentioned in my last video, they're charging you more. That's a form of envy. It's kind of like the automatic assumption that you have more money than them.
I saw this and all I could think was, oh my God, you're an agent of white supremacy. Yeah, because this is agent of white supremacist ass pricing. So let me explain, because what this really says, when you're charging, what you're really saying is, number one, Black people shouldn't have long hair, right? And that it is an anomaly. And as a result, I'm going to charge you extra for it. Number two, what you're also saying is that the natural hair texture is too black, right? And that because of your failure to correct this in this instance, I am going to punish you by charging you a different pricing set, more, right? Which is very much akin to what happens to Black folk and Black women, especially in a variety of spaces.
Okay, she's using a lot of Hotepian language, okay? She's giving me Dr. Umar real hard right now, but just listen to the message, okay? She's inherently right here. The practice of stylists charging people with a thicker density or more so thicker texture, kinkier, coarser texture, more money for the same style is wrong, to some sense. And again, you could choose not to go to these people, but what do you do when every stylist has these types of practices and you're a type 4 girly who just got to sit here and deal with it? So I mean, it's just food for thought. We're gonna let her keep talking, but it's food for thought.
Being poor costs you more. Being Black costs you more. And now Black people are charging other Black people more for being Black. What I'm saying is, Our job is to confront the white supremacist delusion where it shows up, not to conspire with it, which means that this is your know better, do better moment. You know better, now do better. And if you need help with it, get on my schedule.
I don't know how to explain it. They just feel like they know that they can charge you more. It's a common practice, common salons, that they'll charge you more, especially depending on the length or whatever. And like I tell y'all, I don't have no. My thing is, if I had $100 worth of extra hair, I would pay you, but I don't. I have $100 worth of texture that you're mad about and that you don't. Yeah, that you're mad about, but no, I don't have $100 worth of extra, to pay you for hair. So that's crazy. Like when people would add on, oh, well, add 40.
During this service, the whole time I was questioning, should I charge her extra?
Hell yeah, look at all that hair. So I know y'all saw the same amount of hair on her head that I saw, because what you mean, should you charge her extra? Hello, look at all the hair that's on her head. That's more time and more product that you have to use. So yes, but no. Clients cannot control how much hair is on their head and how thick it is. Yes, me as a hairstylist slash braider, I understand it does take more time and it takes more product. But some things, like, be fucking for real. These clients cannot control that. Y'all want to complain when a client don't have enough hair. So you complaining when a client got too much hair and then you gonna charge them for it? Like, that's not fair. All I ask for is my clients to let me know when they're booking, hey, my hair is extremely thick, or just let me know so I can block off the appropriate time that I need to finish, because having a lot more hair, longer and thicker, it does take extra time. Am I going to charge you for that? No, but I need to make sure I block off the appropriate time so it doesn't run in with somebody else's appointment. So anybody that charges, like, what do you like? I get it in a business aspect, but be for real. Like be so for real. Like, would you want somebody charging you extra because what God blessed you with? Be for real. That's not fair. In my honest opinion, that's not fair. So I don't charge my clients extra.
So I did play stylist for one summer, in high school. Um, Here's my personal opinion. Just being a person who is, first of all thinking about the money, but thinking about customer satisfaction. Um, Anything that is collarbone length and below, like you talking about bra strap length hair, that's a regular amount of hair on anyone's head at a given point in time. You should not be charging for that. If we're talking about people with like massive amounts of manes down their back, and you know that you're gonna be up there all day, charge as you feel. But again, that is something that usually is discernible. You usually that doesn't just pop out of when someone has a huge mane of hair. That's somewhere you kind of pop out. In the middle of a service where you tend to charge somebody more, I tend to feel like people just don't be wanting to do hair for real. But that'd be my personal opinion. Like, just like you can't braid if you really want to charge somebody more, for having regular amounts of hair on their head.
You're so thick, child, add 40, or even if they don't tell me that, I know that in the back of my head, when they gave me their price, they're marking it up because, oh, she had a lot of hair. I did a lot of work. Da, da, da. Like, you're supposed to be dealing with women of all types of hair, whether thick densities or fine densities. You wouldn't, oh, I'm going to take some off the top because you got fine hair. You know what I'm saying? That's so, like, crazy. So, yeah, that's a form of envy. That's a form of envy. Do not take that. And that's why I don't go to certain people, or that's why, some salons and some stylists, I will tell you, you lose a lot of trust with your natural hair clientele because you will do that shady stuff. You will charge them extra, because you feel like they have thicker hair. And what you're really talking about when you say thicker hair or coarser hair or whatever, you're just speaking on the texture alone. You're not even speaking on, the density. You're simply speaking on the texture and your inability to want to navigate that. But this is your job. So understand, when you go to these stylists and they charge you more or they up in the fee, well, you got thick hair, honey. Let's add 20, add 10. Or they're overcharging you, like you feel, in your heart, like what they charged you was crazy. Yeah, that's a form of envy. Do not accept that. How to navigate that is simply don't go back to these people. And of course, a lot of the stylist is expensive right now. That's the one thing I will say. It's very expensive, no matter who you are. But when you get into them situations, you got to know how to move. And that's why, how I noticed this was wrong is I went to an old school stylist. Simple as that. I went to an old school stylist, and she was doing everything I asked her to do for literally not even $60 to $80. Doing stuff that was within her wheelhouse. Braided, washed my hair, detangled it, didn't even complain about it. Just didn't even see the hair as an obstacle. These new school stylists, they see the hair as an obstacle to get to their final goals. So they don't see your natural hair as the base, the platform. They see it as, something I got to get over. And that just speaks to the texturism that is in the hairstylist community too.
I mean, this wouldn't apply to your hairstyle, but if you wanted to get your hair styled, a lot of hairstylists require you to come with your hair already washed and blow dry.
And see, that might not be nice because you don't know what kind of shampoo they're using. Unless they recommend something for you to use.
Right. Oh.
Girl, please. I bet they charge the same thing.
Yes, and I've been coming here for so long. And it's really like my second home because, every time I come over here, that ain't it. Well, I just enjoy myself. We just have fun. Every time I come here, you mean
we ain't never felt like it.
Never. Never.
And after my grandma finished Miss Brenda's curl, she completed her last client of the day. And please don't come for my grandma in the comments. She doesn't know about weaves. I go to an old school hairstylist. Of course, I didn't have to shampoo my hair before I came. I go to an old school hairstylist. Of course, I didn't book this appointment on a website that cussed me out and then made me pay a $50 deposit. I go to an old school hairstylist. Of course, she detangled my hair with love and care instead of ripping it from my scalp. I go to an old school hairstylist. Of course, nobody was in the chair when I got there on time for my appointment. I go to an old school hairstylist. Of course, we had great conversation instead of her talking on the phone with AirPods the entire appointment. I go to an old school hairstylist. Of course, she trimmed my hair in sections instead of cutting my hair directly across my back. Old school hairstylist. Of course, she knows how to use Marcel's. I go to an old school hairstylist. Of course, she didn't have a grass wall in her shop. I go to an old school hairstylist. Of course, we didn't gossip about other hairstylists while I was in the chair.
Looks great. It's giving Black Marilyn Monroe.
And it's kind of unfortunate, but it's a perpetuated fact by Black women mostly. I'm not even speaking about other people here. This is Black women who do this. So, be aware of that when you're navigating these styling circles, and just make sure that you're looking for the verbiage, you're looking for those buzzwords, and you know when to get out of somebody's chair, and tell them about themselves if necessary. So it was an old practice that, the old maidens of these plantations, they would make these women cover their hair because they were jealous of them. Literally, they were jealous of their hair, and so they made them wear scarves, and that was so unfortunate. But I noticed how even at work, girl, yes, to global beauties, girlies, global beauties, you will really see who the real stunners are, okay? And when we talk about these global beauties, they are intimidated by the hair, especially if you're not assimilating. The thing is, they're waiting to call you a lace front bandit. That's the only thing that they really have in their back pocket. They act like they have all these jokes, but they don't, So once you pull out the real hair, if you consistently see someone suggesting you to cover it, suggesting you to wanna, and this happens to me.
Specifically more so at work, when my hair is, spruced up, especially wanting it to be covered, wanting it to fit inside a particular mold or a shape or a hat or a cap, it's not outrightly stated that your hair is not welcome in this setting, but it's more so subtly implied by the rules and boundaries expressed, like those Velcro hats, for example, that you might have to wear at a low end drop. Ain't no fro getting in that. But of course, it's not said, but it's implied. We got to wear this hat as part of your uniform. But it doesn't accommodate my curly hair. Well, that's not our problem. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Something else that's really common is if you're a Black girl and then somebody else, let's say a beach or pool environment, Black girls know not to get other Black girls' hair wet. But for some reason, there's always an envious girl in the bunch. And when your hair is looking cute, someone's going to go out of their way to throw water on it. Now, this is something that I'm pretty sure a lot of women can kind of empathize with. But it's definitely devastating as a black woman, especially if you spend all that time and energy getting your hair cute. And what's even worse than when the weather tries to shit on you too, it'd be one thing, but sometimes the weather be totally shitting on me. And every time I'm thinking about to get maybe a silk or maybe, flex rods, perm rods, whatever I want, it wants to rain. And of course, as y'all know, that's not a great hairstyle for, wet weather. But yeah, if you're ever somewhere and some girl throws water on you, or like you're in the pool and someone goes out the way to like dunk you in the water or something, that's a jealous person. Wrap it up, like cut it down. Like that person is the type of person that like I always say, I have a saying, okay, if you be jealous on me on my birthday, you could go ahead and cut up my wedding dress, you could cut my hair while I'm asleep, you could do whatever to me if you are a jealous person. And I wholeheartedly believe that with women who will throw water on a woman personally in order to ruin, her perfectly styled look. Or they're always wanting you to cut your hair. They're always, you should cut your hair. You should, da-da-da. Those are envy attacks. Envious attacks. Humiliation tactic is also somewhat of an envy strike. And you can counter that always and wear your hair up. And it's always going to look good. But they just don't want you to know that, right? Like, even when my hair was in a bun, she wanted me to wear a hairnet. So it wasn't even like other people can walk around with their, buns, but I could not. So just notice those little differences in treatment. Just to note, just if you see it happening and you don't know what to say about it, because I'm telling you, when the other girls be wearing their hair out, it's fine. But, your hair is different. It can't be mimicked. Like I said, there's no way to mimic a type 4 texture. So it definitely is very intimidating to a lot of the other beauties out there. Suggesting that you should get a texturizer, relaxer, or anything like that is definitely an intimidation and an envious attack on your natural hair, because a relaxer is the natural enemy to coils and curls. So you getting a relaxer on your hair, or somebody wanting you to lay down or lessen down the texture, that is their single-handed way of damaging your hair in one fell swoop, and feeding you or force feeding you assimilation rituals within your beauty regimen in order to make you a carbon copy of everybody else. That was a mouthful. Yeah, that was a mouthful. I'm not gonna lie to you, but that's the truth. So suggesting that someone should get a texturizer or relaxer to loosen, even whether it's their edges, like the leave out, I don't care how far you're going, that is single-handedly going to ruin your texture. And you're not going to be able to enjoy the integrity of your hair. And some people like to have their hair relaxed. So I'm not speaking to those girlies. I'm talking about people who suggest that you should do it and you're a naturally girl. Do not internalize or think further on those types of requests, because your number one, like I said, own your crown in my last video. There are some ways and some reasons why people are not experiencing natural hair privilege. Part way, they're not styling it efficiently, so it doesn't look as good when they do their natural hair. And then part B, they're never wearing their natural hair to begin with, so there would be nothing to be envious about. You're assimilating to our standard. You know what I mean?
The salon versus how I arrived home. How I left the salon.
So this girl is taking way too long to respond to my question. I asked, did she get a blowout or did she get a silk press? For a very, very specific reason. Natural girls with kinkier hair who want their hair to have a nice, flowy, pressed out look cannot solely rely on blow drying. The reason being is because blow drying literally is just designed to get the water off the hair and make it dry. It's going to be fluffy. If you try to blow dry even further, a lot of hair textures are still not going to get that silky look. Also, pressing kind of seals it. I'm an avid believer in, I have some clients who have silkier hair, similar to the texture of my wig. I will sit them under the dryer and let them air dry and then press their hair. Why? Because it doesn't make sense to blow dry their hair. When their hair blow dried is going to be puffed out like this, I could brush it and just run a regular flat iron through it. But someone with coarser hair, I would always blow dry with a comb attachment first, then lightly blow dry with a round brush just to stretch it out some more. And then you have to press it. Otherwise, it's just going to be moisture grabbing. You ever gone outside and like your hair just starts to swell up? It's because it's moisture grabbing. It wasn't prepped properly. It doesn't look like they used a clarifying shampoo. It doesn't look like they did a moisture mask. It doesn't look like they used the proper serums in order to seal her hair. Like, it's just many things. You have to stop trusting these Dominicans because they do not know what they're doing. And if you look at the background of that salon, it's giving Isabel. It's giving Sisters, downtown Brooklyn. It's giving, I don't like to work on this hair, mommy, because it's not relaxed. Find your people, go to them.
But when you are, of course, eating in your own standard, now here's what gets tricky, because now we're going to have to go hair for hair. Now we're going to have to go, skin for skin. Now we're going to have to go body for body. And then, just how the black jeans are set up, that eats too. So really, a lot of the girls are intimidated. So when you walk into the room, they got to check their mirrors. They got to figure out if they eating still, because you just shook and that's the thing about beauty standard, right? You can shake it really, really quickly. And it's great. I love it for us. What is the next form of envy, right? So, of course, it's just suggesting that you assimilate. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with a wig. But again, when you are up against the girls, right, it's almost giving them a leg up, because it's like, well, I have that wig naturally. Look at my blowout. You know what I'm saying? But when you pull out that fro, babe, you pull out them coils, hun, you pull out them twists, babe, you pull out them locks. Like, now it's a whole new ball game. You're playing on a completely different rule book. And that's not to say that they don't like their hair, they don't like their texture, they don't work with it. But again, y'all know that our hair is very, 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 very versatile. And even so, on a special occasion, white girls, they do like a blowout. They do like to curl their hair. So that just tells you a little bit of what they think is special, what they think is very unique, what they think is birthday worthy or something like that, right? So that shows their kind of internalized beauty standard. I know that back in the 70s, girls loved getting their perms. And that was a very popular hairstyle to get, was a perm. And the girls, they was wearing their perms, and it mimicked fro type hair. And even you've seen online where there are Asian men who are getting like these texturizers to make their hair look afro. And I actually seen one of these, kind of afro texturizers on an Asian man in real life before. And it looked pretty sweet. I'm not going to even lie to you. It looked hot. So again, you got to know your own power out here in these streets. If no one's going to sit there and tell it to you. I mean, I will, but that's just because I'm nice. So I tell y'all to get on this ball game, because the thing is, you have to address your problems, eventually. Why are you not receiving these treatments? Your hair may be damaged, okay? If your hair is damaged, like, you kind of already let the envious attacks win. So let's say you wet your hair and there's like straggly pieces. It looks kind of limp and wet because you're always blowing it out and straightening it and doing all that stuff. You kind of like, it's just, the assimilation tactics have ruined the beauty at the end of the day. So it doesn't look optimal. So there's nothing to be envious of. It's damaged hair, and nobody is envious of damaged hair. I don't care what it looks like. It may be not styled. And that's another thing that I think needs to be addressed. You have to be willing to put all of that attention, love, and detail into your natural hair. Yes, your 100% real hair.
So while the scarf is on your head, take your bonnet off. Take your puff. Fluff it like that. Take the puff down. Your hair is going to look like this. This is what you do.
Why am I showing this? Because this girl made a video basically saying she's tired of hearing y'all say force the hair is so hard to do. This is what she do. And she ends the video by saying basically y'all are uncomfortable with your hair and just leave it at that. It don't take all that. The reason it takes you 3-4 hours to do your hair, I ain't talking about a wash day now, but the reason it takes you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12 hours to do your hair is because you're trying to manipulate it to look like everything is not. Look, she took that bonnet off and she said fluff, fluff. Fluff, fluff. So that's why when y'all make videos like, oh, 4C hair is so hard to do, I don't know what to do, not even 4C, for all hair, oh, my natural hair too hard to do, but you will put on that wig and lay them edges, baby, 4, 5, 6, 11 times. And there's nothing wrong with a wig. There's nothing wrong with new styles But let's not trick ourselves into thinking that our hair is just so impossible. The way it looks naturally, the thing that's impossible about it is you feeling confident and walking out the door.
Wash, blow dry, condition, do the little twist or shingles, make sure that you steam that. After you steam that, make sure you follow that up with a rod. Like, do all types of stuff, 5-step, 10-step routines. They want you to think that, oh, the natural hair movement has failed. The reason why the natural hair movement has failed, the natural hair movement refused to acknowledge the elephant in the room, which was once you start growing your hair down your back, you now become a target to other women. And this is women outside of the community and within, because now you have to go against, the lace front bandits, the girls with damaged hair, and they're obviously the same stylist. I've never seen a stylist with long hair. Now, tell me that. And that's another thing, too. Stop letting... There was this video. And she had an old school stylist. This lady was probably like 75 to 80 years old. And she said, no offense, but my mama told me never to let a woman with less hair than me cut my hair. And when I tell you that is a new rule in the rule book, I don't know what I've been thinking for so long. Because yes, stylists with no hair get very scissor happy when you coming in there and the hair is down the back, babe. Yeah, they get real scissor happy. And the thing is, I do get upset, but I try to not get too upset because it's like, my hair gonna grow back. That's the best thing about, it's going to grow back. But I had to stop accepting that because literally sometimes it wouldn't grow back. Like, what if it did it? What if it grew back slowly? You know what I'm saying? And there has been times where my hair is growing back very, 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 very slowly. And I'm retaining the length, but it still isn't from where you cut it off from. And I try to take it on the chin like a champ, but no, I have to be for real that, yeah, sometimes those are envious attacks too when they get scissor happy and it's not damaged. And that sucks. And that is something that affects us as natural hair women. And I think also as lazy stylists. I think sometimes I don't want to do all this hair. So they try to let me just cut and see if she won't say nothing, So it's lazy stylists too. But on the bright side, at least your hair is healthy, and I'm speaking to me now. But if they do cut your hair, but stop accepting that. So yeah, if you can perceive that a stylist has less hair than you, do not let her cut your hair. Just get your own hair shears for $11 to $12. I know that I used to watch Deeper Than Hair. She loves to do natural hair. She's actually ended up doing Kelly Rowland's hair, and she has like Deeper Than Hair shears and stuff for hair. Do your own hair, as far as the coils. Another way that I kind of make sure that I get my hair, privileged and stuff, I'm always examining my hair and the integrity of it within its curly state, within its straight state. I'm seeing where the 2-strand knots are, where the 1-strand knot is. I'm seeing where, it's starting to get fray, and then I just cut it right off. Because, another part of making sure that your hair stays growing long and thick, because your hair can be long but be breaking up the hair shaft, so it's really thin looking. You have to be up to date on those trims, ladies. I'm not playing with you. You have to be up to date on those trims, because wanting to keep your hair long but it's splitting up the hair shaft is just going to cause more breakage, but it's also just going to have see-through looking hair. And I see women who do have long hair, but then it's see-through looking, so then you're also not going to get natural hair envy or natural hair privilege or nothing like that, because it's still not healthy. And as I said, nobody is jealous of damaged hair, okay? That's just, it is what it is. We can all damage our hair. So what can you do to make sure that you protect yourself against these envies? Like I said, vet your natural hair circle. Whoever's going to touch your hair is a part of the natural hair circle. You vet them. Speak to them. You don't have to be like just bone straight quiet in your salons during your appointments. Ask them questions. How long have you been doing hair? What do you feel most comfortable doing? Like, it's not so much like interrogate, but just, open up the communication line. Let them tell you about themselves and their style. Also see how easy do they take feedback. Are you able to say, hey, I prefer you to do, and then listen, or are they going to still pressure you? And then what are they pressuring you to do, right? I had this one lady, she was pressuring me. She's like, did you want to sew in or did you want to glue in? It wasn't really a pressure, but I could tell she preferred me to get the glue in. But to me, I don't want glue on or near my hair or on the bundles. You know what I'm saying? At least with needle and thread, those are not messing up the bundles. But glue, there's no telling. Even if you're a professional, ma'am, you're still going to get glue on the top of the weft, making it like losing its integrity. So take lazy. I'm not going to say she's lazy. She's not lazy, but I'm just going to say people who want to take a shortcut, because that's lazy. Them lazy stylists or whatever. Do make sure that you advocate for the integrity of your hair and even your extensions hair too, because it's very important. Just think about that. You need to make sure that your routine is down straight. Like, you need to know what makes your hair crack, what makes your hair look good, the products that make your hair look the best, and you need to be on it. Honestly, and this is it. This is all I'm going to do. If you get your regimen up to 10, okay, you get your go-to protective style, your go-to deep conditioners, your go-to, mask hair, all of this, you'll be getting natural hair privilege in no time. And even if it's short, you can still play into that. You can always play into length. And I think that it's important that we get on a natural hair length journey. I think that would be the number one thing that would heal a lot of women's insecurity. I actually got a comment on my On Your Crown video, and someone was talking about how they were going out, and they were like, I like my hair, but I just don't feel like it's out night with the girls. And she's like, she admitted that it wasn't the texture, but it was the length. And understanding that as well, invest in a length journey. Invest in protective styles that you're going to put your hair up. Personally, for me and my length journey, I can't be blowing out my hair and getting silk presses and doing that. You're going to have to like this hair like shrunken, because that is what keeps my hair at its healthiest. That's what keeps this hair integrity. That's what keeps my curls popping. You know what I'm saying? So there are certain things that I try. I said I was going to try being a straight girly last 6 months. I said, I'm going to try being a blown out natural. Can't do it. Would have lost my hair texture by next winter. I'm trying to tell you something. And that is what they want. That they want you to not have no hair like them, or the hair be weak. I've never really had to do a big chop. What is worse is like a hair plateau, but I've really never had to do no big chop. So if you keep it with them trims, get your hair regimen on point, okay? And then you find each and every style that gets your hair to that look and 10. I've seen the type 4 women wear finger coils, like literally just their hair, like they're just their hair texture, and even the boys too. And it looks super good. It's protective. It's away. And that's their texture. Play into your texture. Don't run away from it, girls. So I've always said, I'll be good people. Be holy people. Read the word and spread the word. And I'll be back. Bye.